Welcome into another edition of Trust the Process Live. This past week, the Sixers got roughed up north, 108-95. The NFL draft included. And we have Mickey Grace back in studio. You don't see her right now, but we'll get to that a little later as Jurassic Park plays us in.
Greatest musical score ever in movie.
Max, what went wrong in Game 1 against the Raptors?
And the short version is a lot. The longer version comes down to a couple different things. First and foremost, Pascal Siakam and obviously Kawhi Leonard were on fire. They both dominated that game in their own respectful way. I think combined they shot almost 80% from the floor, which probably isn't sustainable. There's probably a couple shots they had in there that maybe you're playing on your home court that you shoot on all the time and they drop, but maybe in Philadelphia they don't. Obviously, you got to play better defense on them in general. What stuck out to me in terms of offense, besides Marc Gasol, did a great job on Joel Embiid. Everyone's talked about that. Two things that stood out to me, though. The Sixers shot as a team under 40% from the field. They actually shot around 40% from three, so they missed a lot of inside shots, mid-range layups, dunks, whatever. And the other one is no player on the team scored more than 17 points. So 4 of our starting 5 came nowhere close to their yearly points per game average. That's not going to get you a win probably most places, especially not on the road against another great team in Toronto. So I'm curious to see what you have to say how to fix it, other than play better defense and finish around the rim.
So, anybody know Kawhi Leonard's record against the Sixers?
I do. Go ahead. I know you want to say.
Thanks a lot for the folks who don't know.
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. You say it.
Well, all I know is he's never lost a game ever
Against the process Sixers. Let's clap it up.
No, career.
No, ever.
Career.
In his
I
career.
know, but a lot of that
Since he's
has
played
been
basketball.
against.
Doesn't matter. He's
4
never
years,
lost.
man,
Sixers were intending
that's a
to
record.
lose.
Never lost to the
That's a-
Sixers.
Okay,
That's
go
a
ahead.
record.
And by the way, Ben Simmons averages 8 turnovers against him. He has a way to neutralize the things that make the Sixers good. They need to get out and run, something they didn't do against the Nets. They're going to have to do in this series. You got Marc Gasol in there who runs, I don't know, like a 15 flat 40, and you're out here running a slow half-court offense when you don't run an offensive set. That handoff 3 at the top of the key is not going to work against Toronto.
Wants this
they
to be
come
a
over
half-court
that
series.
screen
So
every time because they've got long, athletic guys. Gasol can shoot the 3, shooting 54%. He can pull Embiid out of the paint. Now you got Embiid away from the board to rebound, and you let guys like Pascal Siakam, who had a monster game, who's turning into a perennial all-star, literally in front of you. He is a guy who is going to be a problem for the next half decade, maybe longer, of his career if Toronto locks him up. The problem is, and we saw it last year, we're seeing it again this year, every time the Sixers get past the first round, they get to the second round, they play a team that people think they can beat or should be able to beat, like Boston, like the Raptors, talent-wise, and they get out-coached. The problem is the same problem it was last year. It's this year. Brett Brown is the problem.
So we have a question from social media. Sean, you want to give that to us really quick?
Thanks, Jake. We had a great early question from Zachary Fideli. After Kawhi's dominant performance, who should be assigned to guarding him?
Well, the short answer is Jimmy Butler because he's the only one that has any perimeter defense.
I would say Ben Simmons. I mean, what I watched him
Wait, for what?
His length, they match up size-wise. His length gave him issues. Like
He was 5'6" against Butler, 4 of 9 against Simmons.
Exactly, and those of us who watch the games, unlike ET, who probably just reads about them,
You're right.
sees what happened during the course of them, and we know that Ben Simmons actually gave Kawhi Leonard the only bit of trouble that he had at all on offense that game.
So who guards Pascal Siakam?
And that is the problem. That was the point I was getting to.
And therein is why you don't put Ben Simmons on him. You put Ben Simmons on Siakam because
and you let Jimmy Butler have him drop 45 on him again?
Kawhi gonna drop 40 no matter who's on him.
Exactly.
It's a mismatch. What you want to do is you don't want to let Siakam go 12 for 15. If you can put Ben
He's not
Simmons
going to do that
6'11".
every game.
Listen, the guy's playing at a real good level right now. He's playing at a good level right now, and what you have to do is put guys that are going to make him uncomfortable, not let him get easy shots. Toby Harris can't guard him.
No,
Jimmy Butler can't guard him. We know J.J. Redick can't guard you and me. So who's going to cover Pascal Siakam?
That's the
Embiid's
problem.
too slow. You have to.
Well,
I'd rather
they
take that guy away and let Kawhi do what he does.
They usually sit him in the corner. If you have Embiid guarding him, that allows Embiid to come back and help. It's tough. There's no two ways about it. It's tough.
Yeah.
Any way you cut it. But aside from Leonard, who worries you the most?
Which was, I was going to say, you stole the hell out of my thunder because it's obviously Siakam. I know how much we talk about Damian Lillard and other guys are underrated. If you can tell me someone who's legitimately more underrated or at least unknown by people who are casual fans, I'm all ears because
He's been in basketball that long. I mean, he's only been
exactly.
in this.
But he averaged like 20. He averaged 20 plus and almost 10 rebounds a game this year. He's absolutely one of the best, probably one of the best 30 to 40 players in the league already based on his production after this year. And he's absolutely the biggest problem. We were just talking about no one on this team matches up with him well defensively, and he can shoot the three. He's a good rebounder. He's not the most elegant of drivers, but he finishes around the rim well enough where you have to respect it. Dude's a matchup nightmare. I really wish we had him on our team somewhere. Like, I'd be happy to
He's what people hoped Toby Harris would be when he came here.
He's a little bit bigger in terms of width and height,
but in terms of his ability to score, get his shot, knock down the open three, and play defense. He's what people hope Toby Harris would be.
That's fair.
That's the best comparison I can give.
I'll give you that.
So you have Siakam, ET.
I agree.
Siakam as well.
But the mismatch, obviously, it's going to come down to the trenches. Joel Embiid's the guy saying, I want to be the most dominant player in the NBA. Play like it. You got Marc Gasol, who's 47 years old, going up against you and giving you problems.
Yep.
That's a matchup you should be able to have your way with. He can't because a big body on him gives him
problems. And now he's a game-time decision.
It's easy against Allen, who's small and like 40 pounds lighter than you. Do it against a guy who's got the same weight as you.
And that's going to take place in just a few minutes as we get ready for the Sixers to take on Toronto in Game 2. But moving along now, this weekend, the Soul kicked off their 2019 AFL season with a 48-41 victory against the Atlantic City Blackjacks. And joining Mickey Grace in the studio are the two stars from this weekend's victory, fullback Adrian Ferns, and all the way from Strap City, cornerback James Romaine.
A little bit of jewelry, we trying to just bring back another championship here to Philly. I think that'd be good for the city. We won two years ago. Sunday at the Wells Fargo at 7 p.m.
All right, and if you are a college student anywhere in the city of Philadelphia, I know you've seen these Indigo bikes If you're trying to go anywhere and you don't want to pay for an Uber, hop on an Indigo bike. There's a bunch of stations all around Philadelphia. Great company. But guys, Mickey, welcome back, first of all.
Hello.
Hi, Mickey. But we're going to talk about the NFL draft.
Oh, here we go. Mickey's wheelhouse. Let's go.
E.T.
Wonder what I'm here for.
Or actually, we'll start with Max,
why you're
actually, in
here.
the first round selection. Andre Dillard with the 22nd overall pick. Tell me what you know about him.
So I know that he's big. I know that he looks like he's born to be a great left tackle in the NFL. But seriously, the dude's 6'6", 320. Obviously, he looks like he's an offensive lineman. You don't always get that with offensive linemen. He looks like an offensive lineman. Very important visual test.
So is Jordan Mailata.
And what? He looks like a rugby player. Wait your turn. Anyway, there's a reason that the Eagles traded up 3 spots for this guy. He's very clearly the heir apparent to Jason Peters. He fits the mold. He's great with his feet, good blocker. Let up 1 sack in pass protection last year. One single sack in pass protection last year. #1 rated offensive tackle by College PFF. Basically the whole complete package. On top of that, how he completely dupes the Houston Texans, a team that let up 62 sacks, top of the NFL, not tied. Top of the NFL last year. And guess who was picking at 23, ET? The Houston Texans. And guess who they were going to take?
Dillard.
They were going to take Dillard. And that's exactly why this pick is an A+ home run. If you give up 2 picks to move up 3 spots, you clearly are all in on this guy. I trust Howie. He gives me no reason not to. I love this. Love it.
So the one thing I'll actually agree on is I'm glad that half the idiot fans of this city aren't actually GMs, because everybody was screaming, oh, go get Josh Jacobs, go get a running back. Oh my God, they need a wide receiver. Hollywood Brown is out there. Listen, it doesn't matter if Carson Wentz is laying on his back for the whole season, because Nate Sudfeld is not Nick Foles. You needed somebody that was going to be able to come in and play and protect Carson Wentz. Yes. Dillard was the highest rated guy there. They didn't actually expect him to be on the board.
Exactly.
That's why he was on nobody's radar.
Did we even
Everybody was
talk
talking
about him?
maybe getting Cody Ford, the guy who was the next guy there. The Eagles were able to jump ahead of Texans, who clearly wanted them, able to work a deal with the Ravens, Joe Douglas connection, and make the deal happen. Good job, Howie, there. I think they did a good job by getting a kid who, again, didn't have a whole lot of sacks, didn't also take a whole lot of holding penalties, which was a problem for the Eagles last year. Jay Peter jumping off early. There was a lot of holding last year. So hopefully this shores it up. You got guys that can finish games and add some solidarity to that O-line.
And so you talk about possibly moving up, getting Josh Jacobs. They didn't do that. They waited until the 2nd round and picked Myles Sanders out of Penn State. Mickey, what do you think about Sanders?
Well, I really like Myles. So I love that he's from Penn State. He's really young. He's 21, but he played behind Saquon Barkley for the first 2 years of his college career. So it was perfect, because he came into a system that was revolved around a running back for that person to get points, and then none of the defenses. Sorry. Oh, wow. Sorry. I've never not looked at that camera. I'm so sorry. My bad. Okay. So, so he played behind Saquon Barkley. So he has so much momentum. He's a crazy motor. He's going to be a good kid. He's 215. He can run. He can beat the brakes off anybody. And a lot of defenses weren't really prepared for him now that Saquon had got out the way. So he's good. Not a lot of injuries. He can, come back really quickly, and we need him. So I'm excited for him to actually, see what he can do.
Yeah.
He's what you call a good value pick, because they didn't reach to get him. They got him right where he was projected to be. Yep. He was a second-round running back.
And he's the 2nd best running back in the class, according to everyone.
So you got what you expected to get for him, and they needed a running back, because while people like Jordan Howard, at best, he's a 1-year rental, they're not going to re-sign him. And, when you look at his numbers, he isn't trending in the right direction for a running back either, especially as young as he is. So getting a guy that's young, more of a burner, better hands out the backfield.
I was just going to say, complete opposite of Jordan Howard. He's a great pass catcher.
And unfortunately, what it might spell the end of? It definitely spelled the end of Sproles, but it might also spell the end of Clement down the road at some point, because of the fact that you got a guy who can do it all and is going to be there cheaper.
And also 4 picks later, then the Eagles go and select J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who not a lot of people really were high on him or knew about him. You play on the West Coast. Sometimes people go to bed, don't see those games. E.T., what do you know about him?
First of all, Coach Shaw has done nothing but put out guys that can play at the NFL level. I mean, if you go back to when he took over in Stanford after Harbaugh left, people say, oh, this guy's not going to be good, but he's just putting out guys that can play at the next level. So here's what people don't know about Arcega-Whiteside. He's 6'3", okay? So he's about the same size as Alshon Jeffrey. He runs a 4.49 40, so he's running sub 4.5. By the way, for people who say, oh, Alshon's so slow, he ran like a 4.47, so he isn't that slow. But this guy, the one thing that he does and does well, considering how injury-prone Alshon is, and he's getting up there in ages, he wins jump balls, 50-50 balls, and he's a great red zone target. He had 14 touchdowns last year. So he puts them in positions in the red zone where Carson Wentz doesn't have to throw it to Ertz every pass. He can actually work it around to some other guys. And what it also does is it says, listen, Mac Hollins, we gave you a shot. You don't fit. You're out of here. Nelson Aguilar, if we get a good trade, you're out of here. And now they got a guy that can come in and replace Alshon Jeffrey on the back end and kind of lock in that position.
And I don't know if you saw, he in an interview said that who he styled his game after and looked up to growing up was Alshon Jeffrey. Another good value pick there. Max, on day 3, the Eagles picked up 2 more players. Tell me a little bit about them.
Another Penn Staters. Shout out to Mickey Grace and Myles Sanders. Wow. So Shariff Miller played the end at Penn State. So his quick profile, he's lighter, good speed, good length, but his problem, or the reason that he wasn't a first-round pick instead of being, or a fourth-round pick instead of a first-round pick, is because he's just a little small. It seems to be he has a problem getting off blocks. So what I'm kind of thinking that between all of his measurables and everything, could he maybe be like a Hail Mary linebacker convert?
Special team.
It probably will end up being that, but I think that their plan is for him maybe try linebacker. He doesn't really seem big enough to be an NFL DN. I couldn't really imagine him being able to get around Andre Dillard. You know what I mean? He would have a hard time with that. So I think he might be better suited as a linebacker of some sorts if he can work on his ability to shed blocks and kind of chase down the ball carrier.
And just really quick, I believe that we have another question from social media. Our producer Sean. Sean, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Jake. Executive producer Zach James asked, what grade do you give Howie Roseman for his draft picks?
Considering that they went in there and hit positions of need, but also got BPA based on their board, I'll give them a B+. It was a good draft.
I give them a B too. So it's a really small draft class. So we got 5. So that's a really small number. Granted, it's also the same number we took last year, but we haven't had this small of a number since 1997 or something weird like that. Yeah. So it's kind of we took a very small one. But these are all really young guys who we can see what they can do. We can do a lot. We invited a lot to minicamp or to rookie, minicamp just to see what anyone can do. So this is kind of one of those long haul, classes where hopefully their young guys will be here for a very long time. They'll be in the system. They'll know it really well, and then they'll get guys next year who into a bigger class.
If you hit on those first 3, it's an age.
I was just gonna say if you hit on even 2 of the first 3, you have 2 of your 11 offensive starters locked down for as long as you want them, pretty much.
Yeah.
And my grade, I would say B+. I would have given him A. I actually, I wasn't sold on taking Clayton Thorson in the 5th round. One thing I will say, looking into him, he seems like Wentz 1.5, obviously not as athletically gifted.
1.5.
But his bio is the same. NFL frame, above average mobility, high football IQ, competitive, streaky passer, can make all the throws but misses the easy ones at times. Does that not sound like Carson Wentz? You know what I mean? Exactly. So obviously he's not as highly rated as a prospect because he's going in the 5th round, and Carson Wentz went up number 2 overall. But just reading the description and the little bit I've seen on him, he does play like Wentz. And, if you're going to draft a backup, don't you want to draft the guy who can step in for your starting quarterback?
Yeah. Good point. Sean, you have another one for us?
Yep, just one more from producer Kevin Terrell. Can J.J. Arcega-Whiteside develop into an elite NFC East receiver?
Elite NFC East.
Why
Well,
not?
let's think about what receivers are in the NFC East. Redskins, I don't know.
None.
Giants, I don't know.
Sean
Cowboys, Mari Cooper, and then
it.
the Eagles. So, he only has to beat out one person to be elite. Sure, why not?
Listen, this is NFC East. Just because they're the second best here doesn't mean we'll call them good. How
I
that
agree,
goes.
but he
We
made it
still-
specific to the NFC East. Now,
Specific.
NFL, I'm going to say no, but East, yeah.
I feel like the whole point is that he's a baby and he has a lot to go. So it's the same way, hopefully that we can get, the way Nelson Aguilar got over that, that second-year hump. Then
If
other
he's
things
Nelly,
happen.
that's bad.
I was gonna say, I hope he doesn't have the first
I
year
meant
hump.
specifically just that, him as an example of changing, the improvement from the second-year hump. Hopefully, as a baby, he can, the Eagles know how to make those improvements for what people need, especially if he's modeling himself after Alshon Jeffrey. It seems like he got a big brother. Let's roll.
Yeah.
There you go.
And speaking of the NFC East, guys, there was some good, there was some bad, there was some ugly. Give me your best and worst picks that the NFC East teams made.
You take the best.
The best. I love Dillard, obviously. The Redskins, I think the Redskins, I feel like we say this a lot about the Redskins. I feel like the Redskins had an amazing draft. They hit on like crazy on their 2 first-round picks. And who's the third? Oh, the Cowboys. Honestly, I don't even really know who the Cowboys
They
drafted.
didn't pick they picked
Exactly.
Amari Cooper with their first
Exactly.
round.
So they had just as small of
That's
a
a
draft
win.
as we did. But exactly, trading your draft capital for a guy who produced like he did last year obviously has to be a win in and of itself.
So I agree wholeheartedly. I think the winner in this draft behind the Eagles was the Redskins. Anytime you got Montez Sweat, who was a high-rated, could have been top 10 pick, barring the heart issue that he had, which clearly didn't stop him from playing football. He's 6'6", runs a 4.40 as a DN at, listen, that's crazy to me to even imagine because he's basically Javon Curse who can actually play the run. Yeah. So you get a guy like that at that pick and then able to get Dwayne Haskins. So they didn't expect to be there because they just swore everybody just thought the Giants were going to take him, which I'll get to in a second. Yeah, it was so many teams ahead of them that could have taken him. They didn't take him. He fell to them. That gives them an heir apparent, especially considering they were the only team that really didn't have a quarterback answer. Because, by the way, my Dolphins took care of their quarterback. So that's all I got, man.
And I think the easy ugly of all that.
It was only one.
Would be
the New York Football Giants.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Now here's the thing I'll say that it's not that they took Daniel Jones. It's that they took him at 6.
Yeah.
Because he would have been there at 17. Hell, he might have been there at 27.
Would have been there in
the
third
Broncos weren't going after him. They didn't want to invest more capital into another high-end quarterback. They've already done it multiple years. They wanted to get a guy that they could get and develop. They just went out and got Joe Flacco. He's going to be the quarterback at least 2 years. They just got Case Keenum last year. They've thrown so much capital at quarterbacks and missed. I think Elway said, you know what, I'm done on getting these high-end guys. Let me get a guy that can develop, get a couple years to grow. But the Giants reaching, I mean, you want to talk about like Stretch Armstrong, tag you're it reach. Like that was the kind of reach it was because he would have been there. And considering what they needed, considering where they were with the holes they had in defense, the holes they had on their offensive line, getting Eli smashed so much this past season, those are things they should have addressed with that first pick.
Well, and Dan Kelly for The Ringer, he does tremendous work, was talking about Daniel Jones. He said, look, I wasn't even going to put him in my top 100. I was told I had to because if he did get picked, someone had to go, that he wanted people to have somewhere to go and read about him. That guy didn't even have him in his top 100. He went 6th overall.
It's a Manning connection. He's friends of the Mannings.
Yeah.
It was
that was so weird, but it gave us a lot of wonderful reaction videos for the last couple days.
Oh yeah, Giants fans were trying to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah, they were upset.
I'm all for hey, let's just see what happens kind of fan, but the Giants.
Listen, they're literally in tank mode. They're going to be bad this year.
All right, and then just lastly with rapid fire, give me your best picks of the draft. Doesn't have to be NFC East, just someone who you really liked that went either value, right team, right place.
So you already know, I'm excited about this one because everybody came in and laughed at me. Oh, Ryan Tannehill's going to stink. I said, patience. Either we get a quarterback in the draft or we get a quarterback next year. And voila, we get Josh Rosen, who was a first-round pick, would have been a top 10 pick in this year's draft, and we got him for a second-round pick now. Can the kid play? I don't know. But listen, if he's half as good as Jared Goff was, coming from a defensive coach who didn't give him any help, then he got an offensive-minded coordinator who turned him into a star. If I can get that out of Rosen, I'm happy with it. Listen, right now, Josh Rosen, without throwing a pass, is better than Ryan Tannehill's been his entire career because I hated Ryan Tannehill. I screamed it for 5 seasons. I'm so glad that he's gone. Listen, it was like literally watching Joffrey die when he got traded. That's it. That's all I got.
All I know is that we're going to revisit that clip in 6 months. One way or another, we're going to.
Just have it teed up. Clip it now. Clip it right now.
So who do you got next?
Top 5 winners of the draft. Redskins, Dolphins, Browns.
Browns did great.
Browns did great. Anytime Odell Beckham Jr. for whatever picks he gave up, great. Bills getting Ed Oliver. Jags getting
some help.
Yes, some help defensively and offensively. And Eagles. And Raquel Armstead, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, speaking of Raquel Armstead, so the only thing I want to note out is that the 2016 Temple football team now officially has 28 professional football players.
That's awesome.
Whether they got
who aren't even starting on that team.
Right.
Fight for the cherry and the white.
Right.
That's awesome. That's a great stat.
That is insane. So word to Matt Rule, Coach Collins, everybody in between, that is nuts. And there was so many guys who went early, like Deion Dawkins went, and then guys were playing against him with the next year who didn't know what was going to happen. So many guys who are starting now. They're all over the board. It's insane. So shout out to that 2016 season. And even guys who are coming in now, it's insane. So shout out to the cherry and white.
I got one quick crazy stat. This is the first time in 77 years Nebraska University hasn't had a player drafted in the NFL.
Well, they were awful. They were
crazy. I know they've been slow to climb, but that's crazy to put a numerical value.
This is also the most Penn State kids that the Eagles have taken since 1985. And I think it's 2 or 3.
Sean,
it's been nuts.
You have one more thing for us over there?
Yeah, we do. We got a couple deals over here. Taya Moore said the Giants had the worst draft, all caps, 2 exclamation points. Good comment by Taya Moore. And Kevin Terrell has another question for us. Are the Giants already out of the running for the NFC East crown?
They were out of the running when they got rid of Odell Beckham last year. Yeah. I mean, they didn't address anything. They're going to be bad again this year. They're playing for a draft pick. I don't know why, because he just went and got a quarterback, but they're going to be bad for a while.
We got D-Jack, bro. I don't care. We got D-Jack back. We're straight.
All right, well, that's all we have for rapid fire. Time to head into Tap Out. TT, why don't you start us off?
So this weekend was epic. It was an awesome TV weekend.
Oh, God.
Between Game of Thrones.
All the
one thing I'm
games.
gonna say,
All the
listen,
games.
Listen, the one thing I'm gonna say is this: to all the people who don't watch Game of Thrones or haven't seen Endgame, who want to go on their timeline and do these, these attention-seeking posts about, oh, I don't watch it, it's stupid. Listen, shut up.
Yeah.
First of all, I remember several years ago, every Thursday night when this show came on, Gladiators Unite, I didn't know what the hell people were talking about. It was scandal. I didn't go in there and bash people who watched it. I just said, you know what, that's not me, and scroll past my timeline. Then it became a thing where I was like, you know what, I'll get into it. But I never bashed other people who liked it and watched it and enjoyed it.
I have a
That
vaguely
said-
different
Hold on,
opinion
let me
about that.
finish my tap out.
That's not true.
But the point I'm making is this. If you don't like it, if you can't get into it, that's okay. Let us all live and be great. Let us enjoy our last couple of episodes of the show. It's going to be off TV forever. Most of us will binge watch it annually to keep it fresh in our mind. But for those people who can't watch it, who can't get into it, go back to watching, Fix This House, Yon Will Fix My Life, or whatever the hell it is you watch, 90 Pound Fiance, and leave the rest of us alone.
Wow, that was rude.
That's a
as
show,
hell.
90 Pound Fiance.
Whatever it is,
I don't
90-something Fiance.
That
Okay,
was really
anyway,
rude. 90 day.
my tap out is, I kind of wish we talked about this a little more. The NBA playoffs have been incredible this year. I know all year we talked about it's the Warriors, how could it be anyone but the Warriors, but it's starting to feel like it's maybe not going to be the Warriors. It's still hard to bet against them. I'm not going to bet against them, but just seeing them just kind of look a little slow against Houston. Houston probably should have won that game yesterday. Regardless of what you want to say about the officiating, they still could have made more shots. I just want to say that the superstars in general have just been seemingly one-upping each other with crazy game after crazy game. KD, Lillard, all of them just people just dropping 50-baggers every night. If for whatever reason you only watch the Sixers in their playoff series, try to expand your basketball horizons. There's some good basketball being played right now. And, I'm not going to blame you for not watching Atlanta and Orlando in the regular season, but give Houston and Golden State in the second round a try.
Good one.
Yeah, no. Only watching the Sixers. Also, I just would like to rebuttal that you gave us hell for watching Scandal and talking about it all the time. Maybe not only timeline, but certainly here at your tap outs. Yeah, it gave us hell. Also, I want to talk about the people who want to say oh, I don't even watch this. Okay, cool, y'all are irking, keep it moving. But the people who are spoiling this on purpose, looking at you, Shady McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
People who are spoiling Endgame, and I'm not talking about Game of Thrones, because if you watch Game of Thrones, you watch it when it comes on. If you missed it, that's on you. You just gonna have to take these memes. But if you spoil Endgame,
Yeah, he put Endgame out
you're literally you are the
12:01
most
on Friday.
unempathetic human. You're the most narcissistic person I've ever met in my entire life. Also, people are like, oh, you had a week to watch it. Maryland just had their spring game. I just got my life back. Give me a sec. Thank you. People who do football are still in football. Spring football is real. So give us a second. So if you're spoiling things just to spoil them, you're a horrible human, and I hope that your zipper breaks when you try to zip it up.
my
And
God.
I hope you
Ouch.
bite your tongue.
You're
And
evil.
I hope that your turn signal doesn't work.
Oh, my God.
Boom. Only thing that I have to say is the NFL draft, the first overall pick, you should have 30 seconds to make your pick. You've had 3 months. You don't need 10 minutes.
That's
Go
true.
decide who you're going to take and go up and announce it.
It should not
That
take
should
till
be it.
midnight to do the first
Wait,
round.
did you hear the thing that you should be penalized for every minute you take
Yeah.
if you're the first
I'm
one?
with it. I'm with it. The NFL first round NFL draft's too long, but that is all that we have here for you for this episode of Trust the Process Live. As
they were
always,
telling
thank
Shady
you
they
for
hope
joining
he
us
does
on
ACL.
My Philly, where something's
always new, and everything's always Philly.
That's right, baby.
Listen, they wanted Shady to tear his ACL. They wanted to get traded in Arizona. There was some death on
Public
his
Enemy
future
number
kids.
one in the
Oh,
league
yeah.
then was Sean
You can't
McCoy.
ruin movies like that, dude. You know
Shut us
better.
a banger.
Yeah.
Like
You're
this
right,
one
though.
is.
TVs and movies, different game.
It is.
You